So I was box breathing. I was I was box breathing and it's really not that funny. All right. Get down. Get down. All right, I was I don't know if I can say this. All right. So I was box breathing and this could be important. So I'm going to continue. All right. I was box breathing and all right. All right. Wow, that is over a minute. This is like a minute and a half of me laughing. All right. I was box breathing and John the Messiah came to mind. And all right, now that got me thinking about this thing that might be described as what some. I mean, I don't know if there's been any work done in anthropology or any other area. If having to do with southern culture. Okay, but and because I don't keep up with much social media, I don't know if there is anything like this going on, the way things get going. But yeah, in the South, I think that it could be described that, a person might describe this and perhaps inaccurately get down as a, but maybe not, as a messiah complex. So where it looks like a man is having a mental health crisis and there might be something about being the messiah. All right, now, I mean, where does it come from? Tragedy is what comes to mind. There might be loss and there's religion. In this part of the country, there's a lot of religion. All right, so is this unique to men? I mean, I, I think that's where I've seen it, and I can think of a few men where that it's either been a person has maybe said something, or something has been misunderstood, or a person has said again something's misunderstood. And I think about someone making fun, and when I'm laughing, I'm not making fun. It's overwhelm. All right, and so in this part of the country, well, I'm gonna insert this first. I think when I was a student, my first year of college instead of 12th grade, and it was miserable. Our honors English professor was from Pittsburgh, I think, one of those rich people from Pittsburgh, perhaps. And I remember reading, we read so much Southern fiction, and there was a Eudora Welty story, and we were supposed to write responses, and she said that I made a character into a Christ figure, and it's like, well, that wasn't my intention. I think there was a character being bullied, somehow being harmed, being bullied. Um, and I could point out again that that professor was from Pittsburgh, all right, not from the South. So I was like a Christ figure. I mean, I don't know where she got that, but and I don't know if sometimes people are confused about, you know, the history of this part of the country, and it's not only this part of the country. I mean, the East Coast and up into Canada, people don't really look beyond what is thought of as the South. But when you think about the history, you think about um, there's a lot of history of war, and people don't want to think about that. What goes on in a war, what happens in a war. There's trauma and intergenerational trauma. There's there are plenty of people who understand that as a real thing. All right, so a messiah complex. Well, is that what that is? I could talk about men dying young, you know, I could talk about men being killed, you know, and there's a lot that goes on that's economic. We could say socioeconomic, you know, and so, and we could say humans are sacrificed. Yeah, you are going to work at that job. Yeah, it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter that it's breaking your body down. You know, what happened historically, you know, um, is that one of the ways a person could think about some of the history, think about that. Again, loss, you know, what brings on a person feeling like, you know, feeling something like that. And again, it's really not that uncommon. Um, and it shouldn't be made fun of. I mean, when you've survived loss and you've, you know, experienced mess, been harmed, and things like that, you know, sometimes we laugh because, I mean, it's overwhelming and things can become funny. If someone has gone through an experience that was a really unpleasant experience and can kind of see it, it's like now I'm here and now I understand, and yeah, I can laugh about that some. If something was done to me, no, I can't laugh about that. But you know, maybe there's some humor. I don't know. I just know I was box breathing and I can't say it without laughing. John the Messiah came to mind, and I thought I have to talk about men from in and from the South. And does anyone ever want to describe something? Well, a person giving their life. I don't know. What is a Messiah? I mean, do I even know? I mean, I don't. You know, I think some things get so mixed up and confusing and confused. It's like, what is that? But a person sometimes gives their life. A person sometimes is forced to give their life. That's not good. You know, that's something we should always be working to prevent.